Video is going to quickly talk about how to use filters to your advantage. And I'm not really sure why this thing is deciding to show up, but what a filter is kind of used for. All right, so let me set up the situation. Today I've gotten a PEX report from Bob Humphrey concerning the execution of 22 count in Save Martin. As you can see, I can read my promotion. I'm going to get this thing out of the way right here real quick. It's pulled from Cellmax. It has the sales through this. It gives me the store report. It's on this particular chain for this event number, and it says for the multi-packet $4.99 from this date. Now, I've had a couple of notes that I've put in here in columns J, K, and L. As you can see, I'm trying to find out from my districts if we have a lobby display. If we don't, why not? And then is there also a snack display? But as you can see, there's a bunch of other data in here that isn't that useful to me. So I can see that there's the Sacramento zone, the Central Valley zone, but I'm only really concerned with what's going on in my own zone. So what I want to do is I want to filter out all that other information. And the way to do that is through, very quickly, the Data tab. And you can see there's two different ways to do things. You can either sort the information that you have, or you can filter it. And then you see the auto filter over here. Now, if I'm going to just put on an auto filter on something like this, I would click on my area, I'd go to data, and then I would click over onto auto filter. And you'll notice that there's just a bunch of stuff that goes along the top here. And what this stuff does is let me highlight any individual item number in a particular column. So this is where the auto filter automatically puts up if I just click it. I don't want it to actually go there. I want it to auto filter in a much more particular place on the report. And where I would do that, how I would do that is by selecting on the stuff that I want filtered. So what I would do is I would go, and you'll notice that in the top of this stuff there's not much data here. The report really starts right here. So I'll go to the top left kind of array, which is the part of, so the whole Excel spreadsheet is kind of everything on the spreadsheet, right? An array is an area within a spreadsheet. So I'm going to go to this part and I'm going to define my array. So I'm going to say, hey, starting in column A8 and going over to column I8, I want to set up an array. And I'm going to highlight on that by using my shift and my arrow key. And then I want it to go all the way to the end of my array. And I'm going to hit Control Shift down. So Control Shift down, and that'll put me all the way to the end. I'm going to let go of Control while still holding Shift, and now I can refine over to where I want. So this is how I'm going to define my array as column A8 through column I207, and that's the only thing that I want within my filter. So now, if I go up to data, I could also hit Alt-D, because as you remember, the Alt keyboard works on that, and I would go over to filter, and I would say auto filter. Well, there was already one there, so clicking it again took it away. If I go back in and I go filter and I hit auto filter, now you'll notice that my auto filter is on top of the menu items that I want. So that's great. That's exactly what I want. So what I want to do is I want to get over, and I'm actually going to delete column A right now because that's not useful for this simulation. I want to just find out what the South Bay zone has in terms of my auto filter. So I'm going to say, hey, all of the different types of things that I can have that are within this set of data are under there. So I wanted to find out the South Bay stuff. And now I have my South Bay report, and I can find out exactly what's going on for just my zone. Well, I've also noticed that some of these things are in yellow. Well, Bob probably just went over and said, hey, arbitrarily, anything that has lower than $258 of sales to date is what he wants to filter on. But I want to filter on something a little bit different. I want to find out what my sales to date are that, say, have less than 15 cases in them. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to click on my filter button, and I'm going to say custom. So what I want to find out, I want to show rows where to date, that's my, my item number, is going to be less than, and my number I'm going to have is 15. So that's going to filter it out, and now you'll notice that anything less than 15 shows up in this column. So first, I've highlighted only my South Bay numbers, right? And I want to go in and hit South Bay here. Then I've hit on what is less than 15. That's my custom filter right there. If I want to sort for any individual item. I could hit 32, that would show up to anything that has 32, but I want my custom filter right here, and that's going to be equal to 15. And using those in tandem means that, oops, I'm going to go back to my custom filter. I want this to be less than. And I can do it less than, equal to, greater than or equal to. I can do it any sorts of number of things. But this one is going to be is less than 15. I'm going to set OK. And this is going to show me all the items that I have here. Now I can see in any given area what's going on. So now as a zone or as a district, I can take this report and I can say, hey, in my district, which I'm going to say is 470, I have one store, so I'm going to call it that route. But what if I have a district that has more than one store on this report? Well, I might want to know, all of the things on this. So District 874, as you can see, he can filter down now by his route, and he might want to know when talking to his guy who he needs to call. Well, he has 4 routes that are showing up on this. Now he can filter down exactly to that route, call up his store guy and say, hey, why have we only brought in 2 cases to date? So that's the power of a filter going on over here. You can quickly find out what's going on. So what I did was I went up and I filtered my report, and then I called all my districts. And when I'm talking to any individual district, I can then go down and say, hey, District 890, you have 2 stores. Can you call up and find out what's going on here? They called me back and they said, hey, this is what we have going on. Robert Thompson did this. He told me we have a 6TMD Ruffles and Tostita display and a full pallet 22 count display on in there. I was able to call up the district manager and solve our problem quickly. And a lot of it had to do with just because of filters. Now, one way that you can get into trouble with filters is sometimes you'll have a bunch of filters selected and you'll have no information on there. So you got to look carefully at the arrow. If it is black, that means that the filter has been selected. If it is not selected, if it's blue, that means the filter is selected. So for example, if I wanted to find out what has been sold in, we'll call it San Francisco, if it's in here. Let's see if it is. And I have San Francisco. There it is. Within San Francisco, those are the 2 stores. Well, I might have already selected, South Bay on here. So the only things that are come up is San Francisco, South Bay. But if I had my filter selected on before I went to San Francisco, something else like District 370. Okay, well, District 372 is in the NorCal bins. If I had selected on that and then I wanted to find out for my zone in here, I wouldn't be able to find the South Bay zone because District 372 is only in the NorCal bin. So what I'd have to do is go back to this filter. It's blue. As you can see here, it's hard to see. I'd make it all, and then I'd be able to go in and find the South Bay in here. Then I'd be able to find District 936, and then I'd be able to find, what stores are in, call it San Jose or Redwood City. So the thing to watch out is all these filter work like an and. If I filtered my city and my district and my zone, all these things have to have information to show up anything. If they're not there, quickly go in and just reset all of your filters to the all function, and you'll be able to get all the data. Now, to sum up again, if I wanted to find a specific item, I could go in and find it directly by clicking on my filter. I can get a top 10. I can also get a all, which is everything, and then I can get my custom filter. So if I wanted my custom filter in this to be, this equals South Bay, or this equals Sacramento, then it'll show me anything that's South Bay and Sacramento, right? So I probably spelled, it's the whole thing is Sacramento. So if I go back into my custom filter and I say Sacramento, this will show me everything that's South Bay and Sacramento. So that's my first filter. Then I want to find out what my total cases sale to date are. I can put in another, another custom filter, and I want to know anything that is less than 20 cases. So now I can find out 2 pieces of information that is very useful to me. Anything that's less than $20 sorted by this column, it's sorted by anything, but I can take in and then I can actually sort this information by, say I want to sort it by column A. Say there's no header row here because I forgot to select on that, but we will call this, I want to sort it by my 12-week average, which is column F. Now I've filtered a bunch of information, I've got it sorted by column F, and I noticed that, wow, I have a bunch of stores in the South Bay that I need to get some product into because I have some high volume stores that don't have product into it. So that's how you use filters.